Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Apologies while I get my window here set up. There we go. So today I want to talk about Travalyst. Now Harry's got his creepy Travalyst commercial up on YouTube. You can watch it. I would play it, but he'd probably sock me with a copyright or something. So basically, I'm sure you've seen it where Harry's going for a run, and this creepy little guy comes up and says, you used too much water and too many towels, and so we're going to be deducting points from your last trip. And Harry's like, "That's weird. How did you know that? That's creepy." So, I mean, this video implies that Harry knows exactly how intrusive and offensive and dystopian and Orwellian this whole app is, and yet he's still promoting it. And it says here in the bottom, Prince Harry runs into Aotearoa, New Zealand trip raiders. How would your holidays rate you? Right? So this is completely opposed, diametrically opposed, I think is the phrase, to what Harry initially stated when he first launched his Travalyst app. It was supposed to be, oh, to help you all to travel more eco-friendly, more sustainable, right? The New World Order, UN, 10 to 2030. So whenever you hear sustainable, it's New World Order. Klaus Schwab, you will own nothing and be happy, and you will eat the bugs. That's what that's all about when you start using that. And of course, that's all over Harry's Travelist website. But anyway, so it's nefarious, and Harry was deceptive in how he initiated it. But this commercial was oddly honest about what he was doing with his app, right? But of course, he was claiming that it was happening to him. Not quite so entertaining when it's a member of the public that they're tracking down and saying, "Oh, you're getting deducted points for this and that." And what he's not mentioning is, "Oh, you're going to have a social credit score on like on the Chinese Communist Party system, and we're going to be taking away your social credit score, right?" The power behind that from your traveling. This appears to be what it's really about, and they're bringing it in piecemeal by piecemeal here, little by little. And of course, we all know, um, real quick, you saw my video. I just put up a couple of videos back about how Harry and Meghan have no problems. Oh, how that happened. Have no problems with um, invading your privacy, right? Don't forget. Now in China, of course, the Chinese Communist Party, they put up your name and ID if you're a bad social score. And this is exactly what Harry and Meghan did right from the get-go when they outed people from Twitter that said, "Oh, Megan's a D-list actress. Oh, she dresses like a teenager, has dirty hands and nails and filthy shoes." They took these poor private citizens, put their pictures up, their names, their occupations, and blasted them as abusing poor Prego, allegedly pregnant, which we know she wasn't. Vile trolls, they called them vile trolls behind horrific abuse of Meghan Markle on social media unmasked. So we all know Harry and Meghan have no problems attacking the public, right? And outing you, and like China's Communist Party does, totally from their handbook. And of course, the New World Order is like what the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, China is behind the Health Organization. Tedros and Xi Jinping work together. I mean, Tedros works for Xi Jinping. So this makes sense when you're bringing in a Chinese Communist Party type system of tyranny. Harry and Meghan, I mean, this proves is just one example of many of how all on board they are with bringing in tyranny and attacking the citizens and taking away their rights. Now, the royal grift, getting back to this one, she did an excellent video, which I posted, reposted, get the word out. You got to be careful for her here because this is the exact same kind of topics that I think, in my opinion, is the main reason that Yankee Wally was taken out. Because what did Yankee Wally cover? I mean, besides her teeth and all that, she she talked about the companies. Yankee Wally was also very financial, and she would go to the company house of and look at all of the companies that Harry and Meghan and follow them. And she would keep an eye and she'd say, "Oh, look, this one stepped down and they've just put this person in charge." Like Yankee was keeping a really close watch. them and the Sussex Squad. She watched the Sussex Squad very closely and knew them all by name and knew which ones the nasty ones were. I mean, they're all nasty, but some were nastier than others. So she was very good. She was like a mother hen, and she monitored them every day. She was on them, and it was and they hated that. So I'm thinking, Royal Griff said this video is not getting pushed out on the algorithms, and no surprise because she's exposing all the money that appears Harry and Meghan are hiding in Travalyst. Now, you might see Travalyst as possibly it's just a cover for money laundering, which yeah, I could see that. Or is it worse than that? Is it that and something else? Because look at the companies Harry is working with. Google. All right. So Travelist is going to be, as Royal Griff points out, they're going to be collecting your data, your personal data. Which, by the way, Harry is also collecting data with his mental health app. Right. So they're collecting all this personal data, and it's amazing, especially using AI. Just with a few points of data about someone, how you can get their whole psychological profile. You can tell about their health and maybe potential issues. I mean, there are stories of like, um, what is it? There was one about there's many things. Like one thing is they can tell these apps with the data they have and the way people use them, they can tell when someone's pregnant or not. There's some like from their purchasing, like I forget what it was. There was there was a real life example where it was like um if right when you get pregnant, yeah, you have some sort of like craving or something, like maybe you buy more chocolate or something else. It wasn't chocolate, it was something else. But anyways, let's say for example it was chocolate. So some girl doesn't know she's pregnant yet, right? Because it usually takes a few weeks. So she's buying all this chocolate. And so then the algorithms will figure out, oh, she's in a relationship with this guy. They spend a lot of time. Their phones are pinging together in the same place. They must be probably sleeping together. And then they start sending ads for diapers to the boyfriend. Suddenly he opens up his browser and he's getting ads for Pampers and stuff like that. And it turned out the woman was pregnant. So that's like one example. They can figure things out from bizarre points of data that you wouldn't think of normally, because don't forget they have all the psychologists and the psychology and studies behind it. Well, anyways, we also are know that Harry was in contact. In one case, Prince Harry admitted that he called Jack Dorsey at Twitter, and Harry claimed that he knew January 6th was going to happen, right? Trying to pretend like he's psychic. But most important is the fact, how does Harry have direct contact with Jack Dorsey at Twitter? And who else is Prince Harry in direct contact with in big tech? I would suspect all of them because him and Meghan are buddies with Bill Gates, they're buddies with George Soros, Aspen is too. They have all these connections, and that means Google as well. So, what kind of data does Google have on people? Hell of a lot, right? Because basically everything runs on Google, pretty much. Gmail. So ostensibly, potentially, let's say Harry is in good terms with Google and contacting them and YouTube, and obviously with all the channels being taken down, he obviously does have good contacts. What's to say he's not able to access people's Gmail accounts? Just secretively behind the scenes, you've got these globalist types, these wealthy elitists. They want to think they're elitists. They're satanic, evil, diabolical uh, reptiles, but they're connected and they talk to each other. And one scratches one back, the other scratches. All Harry and Meghan, especially with the power Harry has, a royal family member, he could contact. The fact that he's contacting Twitter, he could also be contacting Google and saying, "Hey, I've been this nasty person seems very threatening towards my wife. I'd like to can I have access to their Gmail and to their data and what they've been doing online." I mean, it's possible. It really is possible. So it's very concerning that someone like Harry is connected to these places, and publicly so. He's not hiding it. This is on their Travalyst website. So what kind of data exactly is Harry getting from these places about us? And how would Harry and Meghan use that data? Because obviously, Harry and Meghan, who's to say Harry hasn't gone through all the Gmail accounts and the Google data of these people that he's already publicly outed to humiliate them and embarrass and humiliate them and demonize them and basically making them like most wanted here. to bash these people. If they're willing to go that far to do that to private citizens, what else is Harry doing if he has their data and their emails and other private information that he obviously has access through with his buddies there in big tech? That's what I think. So that brings us back to, well, why does he have Travalyst? Is it just to launder money? Or is it much more sinister? I mean, we all know how paranoid Harry and Meghan are and how control hungry they are. Wouldn't it be nice to sit back and, like, let's say you're on YouTube or wherever and you see this nasty tweet about you and you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna get the data on that person." You find out where that person lives, where they spend their time, what they buy at the store, what they've said in emails to other people, and get all their personal information that way. Yeah, so get off Gmail is all I have to say. Get a Proton Mail account. I got one of those. I mean, I still have a Gmail for, tarot inquiries and, like, general newsletters, but I do not send anything personal, private. I send it outside of Google for sure, especially now, like Harry is connected with Google. I mean, I'm not saying they give Harry this data, but who's to say they don't? I mean, how difficult is it to pass some data around, right? Especially amongst friends, globalist colleagues. So I want to take a look at this. I want to look at what's Harry really up to with Travelist and his long-term intentions. Is it about bringing in tyranny and being one of the power brokers and controlling people's travel, social credit scores through their traveling? Is it merely to gather data on people, to possibly take them to court or to use against them or blackmail them or harass them? I mean, imagine the advantage you would have in court if you have all this data to someone's personal information. And the way big tech and social media is shot ahead of the legal system. I mean, there aren't enough laws in place, right, to protect people. Still playing catch up with that, right? I mean, they're still fighting over the censorship over the whats, right? So the power at big tech has overtaken governments and being used by the New World Order to overtake governments. But I want to focus on Travelist today. And what is Harry's real intentions with Travelist here? Where is it going? What is he trying to do? What's he not telling us? And I'm going to ask, has he been looking at people's personal private data, online data? Has he already had access to it? Because if he calls Google and says, "I want the personal data and Gmails of this person," where's Google going to send it? They could send it to Travelist. And that way it wouldn't look like they're sending it to him, right? I mean, it could be something kind of maneuver like that, or to better up, right? So there could be some back channeling of data going on. I don't know. I don't know how this works, but all I know is that we've got Harry connected, and Harry has already admitted to being connected and using his connections in big tech to deplatform people and whatnot. So let's take a focus on Travelist today. And how sinister is it? Let's find out. All right, let's take a look at this. I'm going to be using the Pocket Smith Waite Tarot deck. Haven't used this in a while. And I've already shuffled the cards. So I'm going to split the deck and take a look. What is Harry really up to with Travalyst? His Travalyst app. Let's find out. See if we can get an idea from the cards. I mean, maybe Harry's just the figurehead and there are more nefarious people behind him because, of course, he is related to the Obamas and George Soros and all the rest. And we all know Harry is not the brightest light bulb. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So, well, let's see. But maybe Harry is on board with it. Maybe they got him on board because he can get his enemies this way, right? Because he's definitely a fighter, a very angry person. So, anyways, what is his general attitude about Travelist and what he's doing with Travelist? Two of Swords reversed. He's very tight-lipped about it. And I'm getting swords already. I'm getting into the minds, the unconscious, where you're not supposed to go. This is like, no, you don't go any further than this. This is where you draw the line. He's going beyond that. He's going over crossing boundaries here. Personal, intellectual, informational boundaries. that have never been crossed before with the public. I mean, the amount of information that big tech has on individuals with New World Order, never mind AI, right? Kind of got an A shape, right? How they're able to manipulate and censor, and of course with AI can just create all sorts of articles and make it look like a big news story is happening, and print all different articles and make it look like 10 different newspapers have published all these newspapers, and they look like they're written by humans. And you would think that there's all these reporters and journalists covering this topic, and it turns out it's all just AI, and AI did it in like 2 minutes, right? I mean, it's scary what the future holds with that. The bottom of it all, again, Two of Wands, gathering off the internet, collecting info around having the world in your hand. I kind of see this as a New World Order type card. It's a New World Order man with the world in his hands. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's also about traveling, would be traveling around the world as well, but still, this is a globalist phenomena. So I see that he's doing something secretive here, and he's crossing boundaries. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the rule of law, obviously. He just wants what he wants. What is he trying to do with this public data that he's going to gather from this? Page of Wands reverse. So I get the idea of limiting messaging, punishing people who post things that he doesn't like online with the wands, people who put out their opinions, practice freedom of speech. Those people need to be taken down. They need to be censored. They need to be monitored. They need to be prevented. They need to have social credit scores deducted from them. So he wants to punish people with this. I do get that. He wants to know who the troublemakers are, where they go, and who they hang out with, and have some power over them, right? So if Harry is not literally king of the world, he will at least have the power to deduct points from people who voice things that he doesn't like on social media, and maybe even prevent them from being able to travel anywhere. What is he not telling people about this Travalyst app? What's he not telling people? Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, he's obviously lying about the money, that's for sure. But besides that, I also get the fact that Harry, I think, gets data from Google and what other places. There's a lot of exchange of data going on amongst them, and I think that we're not seeing that. We're not seeing how much he already has and is able to get via his apps and what he's going to have access to. So he's obviously not going to be honest about the bookkeeping, as the Royal Grift pointed out. I don't have a financial mind, so if I looked at all these financial reports, I wouldn't see what she sees. So I hope she continues doing what she does with the financial reports, because there's going to be a lot of shadiness going on there, and a lot of information that could be garnered from paying attention to who's paying who's involved. And I think it's very suspicious that Google is involved with a Travalyst app. I mean, it's one thing, Google doesn't get directly involved with apps. Okay. I mean, yes, they put them on their Play Store, but they don't invest in apps, generally speaking. And the last thing in the world we need is another travel app. We already have plenty of them, right? There's plenty of places you can go to book your trips, right? But of course, that's not what Harry's app is about. His app is about collecting data on people, is what I'm getting. Information, swords, people who post that he doesn't like. And there could be, of course, some money laundering issues going on as well. I mean, it could be more than one purpose for this, I'm sure. All right, so my next question is, has Harry already obtained the personal data of private citizens? I mean, he already showed it with the newspaper article. How did they track down those people so fast? Right? I don't think they were all upfront about who they were on Twitter. So somebody had to do some doxing, right? So has Harry already obtained, but has like other private information? Has he already obtained a lot of it? Oh, Queen of Cups reversed. Huh. Well, I think that I might go with a no. I get a no vibe here. It's interesting. I get Queen of Cups. As far as pertaining to his mother, I think he's gotten data on people pertaining to his mission for security, claiming that what's going to happen to his mother will happen to Megan. 'Cause I take it as the anti-Diana. I see Megan as the anti-Diana, and I also see her as holding this. She's holding this precious thing that she's studying. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think Harry, at the current time, I don't think he has access to whatever personal data he wants. So I don't think he's able to get everything that he, as far as, he can't just decide. I think I'll look up this royal grift and find out what her financials are today. Like he doesn't have that kind of access yet, but he probably is working on that. And of course, anyone who signed up for any of his apps, no doubt he has access to that data. And there was also a scandal with his Better Up that they claimed that it was private. Like if you did a psychological survey with them or got therapy, they said we'll keep it private from your employer. But it turned out, if you read the contract carefully, and it may have been the Royal Grift or someone else pointed out that when you read the fine print, that the employer could get access to an employee's psychological transactions there on the therapy app there. So, the fine print is very important to read and understand, because it does look like there's a lot of shadiness going on behind the scenes as far as who not only getting data, but who they give it to afterwards, who else they give access to it to, right? Where it goes from there onto the black market there. I think there already is a lot of data on the black market apparently. So what's Harry expecting from his Travalyst app? I mean, is this just for show, so he could look like some successful entrepreneur when all he's doing is siphoning data off Google? Or is this something for him because he's paranoid schizophrenic and he wants to attack and have personal data on any perceived enemies? What's going on here? Ah, Knight of Cups reversed. Wow, he wants to appear like he's this wonderful philanthropist and he's here to help you and to help you travel, but it's not. It's all a deception. So the app is a total deception. He wants to look like he's actually doing something useful in the world. They make, I mean, from the video on their website that I saw in Royal Grist's video, it was like, oh, Harry founded this in 2019 and da 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 da, and they make it look all official, like he's some, up and coming, um, entrepreneur, and he's so successful. But in reality, it's all a sham. It's all for show. It's all a fake, fraud, phony. Uh, it's all just deception. And I think his real intentions are also very deceptive. It's anti-life. Cups I see as life and people's well-being and health and well-being. It's definitely not for that. So it's destructive to life. It's destructive to humanity in the long run, and it's deceptive. And it's utilizing people's private data for his own benefit and to promote himself as some kind of successful person claiming to do good in the world and helping people travel when he does nothing. It will do nothing of the sort. So what is Harry trying to get rid of or destroy or not want by doing this app? What is he trying to avoid, take away? Interesting. I think he's trying to take away people's freedoms, people's love of life and happiness. I mean, lovers is, people's connections with each other. If you've got everybody's data, you can manipulate potentially and interfere with otherwise, people who would bond together, work together, create together, prohibit people from enjoying their lives, and even prohibiting reproduction, which seems to be a main end goal of the globalists like Bill Gates and whatnot. And yeah, yeah. Just love in general. I think it's like destroying people's happiness and creativity and freedom of expression. What is Harry hoping to achieve with his activities with Travalysts? Queen of Swords. Hand over that data. Give me that info. Give me that power. Yeah. What did you say? I'm going to cut your tongue out. Yeah. So It's all for the data, it's all for the intel, it's all to be able to find out what he wants when he wants it, and to have some power there. Hmm. So, how does Harry see the public or the people who use his app, the app users in general? How will he see these people? How will he treat them? How does he consider them in the scheme of things? Does Harry consider himself a servant of the people, the customer there, or is he more the dictator? Oh, look at that. Eight of coins reversed. Data, 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 data. Yeah, he doesn't think much. I think he is looking to, he'll see people, either there are people who are going to work for him and do his work, or people that he's going to get work for by collecting their bits, what they put out there, their posts and bits, and taking that down. I kind of reversed. I kind of get like this is somebody like putting together a tweet they're going to post and posting it up, and Harry's like, no, we're going to take that down. We're going to take you down. We're gonna post your picture on a billboard because I don't like you. Yeah. You said Megan sews socks that smell. That's hate speech. I'm taking you down. Oh yeah, this is all about taking down things that he doesn't like and information that he doesn't like and posts that he doesn't like and people that he doesn't like. He doesn't want you having any fun or having a good time. How dare you? If Harry's unhappy because his mother died, then you all have to be unhappy with him. That's right. If he's going to suffer, you all have to suffer. That's the way of Harry. That's right. But he'll pretend like he's such a philanthropist. He's such a humanitarian with so much compassion, just like Mama. Yeah, he's his mother's son. Yeah, I don't recall Diana getting people deplatformed because she didn't like him. But of course, uh, she passed before we had all this social media stuff. But still, I don't recall Diana ever blasting anyone for insulting her or anything of that nature, you know. She wasn't vindictive like that, like Harry and Meghan. I mean, not with the general public, anyways. I mean, with Charles, another story, Charles Camilla. But I mean, with the public, Diana was always wonderful, and that's why people really liked her. She never attacked the public. And when she was alive, Diana, when she was alive, she was criticized just like everybody else. It's only when she passed she became a saint, right? Only because she died young. Everybody who dies young becomes idolized or whatnot, and nobody speaks ill of. But when she was alive, I remember people were critical of her. She wasn't treated like she walked on water. Yes, she did a lot of nice things, but it wasn't like she was worshipped like a saint or anything. It was only because she died young, anyways. Something for Harry to keep in mind. He's so sensitive about posts about his wife, right? Anyway, next, what's Harry gonna do next with Travalyst? What's next on the agenda? Oh my, bad to worse. So maybe it's bad news because people are finding out what he's doing, but also, um, yeah, I think he's gonna get more and more exposed, and I think that people are gonna be very upset when they find out what he has been doing and that the way he has been, his intentions there, real intentions and what it's a part of, and people are going to get more and more upset because these tyrannical globalists are not stopping, right? Things are going to get worse and worse, and Harry is going to make them worse and cause more mental health problems, which of course, handy dandy that he has a mental health app, right? But yeah, I see things getting worse for him and his app and in general, things going. But in the long term, will his app be successful in the long term? So I think they'll go from bad to worse with that. Ooh, I'm getting a yes. So his app is going to be successful. He is and has successfully been getting information and he will continue to do so. So I think Travelist is here to stay. Look out. But it's going to be a lot of headaches along the way for him. Whatever the final form, I see kind of like a new form of it. So he may have to, depending on what occurs, he may have to reinvent it a bit. Not necessarily that it's going to be exactly what he's setting out to do, but I do see that it will be here to stay once it's established. Somehow it'll be something that's usable and used by people. And depending on how you describe success, if the success means that Harry obtains surreptitiously people's personal data and their Gmails, then yeah, that could be seen as the success that he has with it. And as an aside, this goes hand in hand with the idea that Christopher Bosie has such a problem with people using VPNs, right? And he made it sound like having a VPN, which protects your identity online and keeps people like Harry from tracking your data to you. That was such a crime to Bosie. So obviously, they are continue to be very interested in people's personal private data of private citizens, and using VPN hinders them, and they really don't like that. And they've already voiced that on their Netflix through Christopher Bosie and others. And I think Bosie even blamed Yankee Wally for teaching people how to use a VPN, right? So why would they care? Why would Harry and Meghan's deep state employee Bosie be so concerned about people's VPNs? Oh, so he can't track your data and hand it over to Harry and Meghan. Isn't that interesting? But of course, if Harry is directly connected to Google and buddies with them, they may just be handing over the data anyways. So, but one way or another, our data is very much apparently something Harry and Meghan really want to get their greedy little grubby criminal paws on. So, in the long term, Harry is a mentally ill person and he's using and abusing his mother's memory to get sympathy and to obtain and as a rationale for his irrational mind to accumulate and gather and monetize and expose private citizens and their personal data. I'm sure, depending on who you are and how much he hates you, whether he'll put you on the front page of a newspaper or whatever. But he uses that to justify his dishonesty and deception to people, pretending he's just a party guy who gets high all the time when he really wants to like torture people and upset them and embarrass them and humiliate them and abuse them, is the way I see it. He doesn't want people to be happy and enjoy their lives and have a good life. And he's not honest. Um, he's not religious. He's not spiritual by any means. He pretends to be. But him and Megan and the rest, they're all about being very cynical and wanting control. And of course, in the New World Order, control will be through data, right? Is through they want AI to control everything and everything on one place, one passport, right? One digital currency. That's all going to be data, right? Your money will be data. If you allow it to join that CBDB system, everything will become data, from money to any medical records. They want everything to be AI, right? Your doctor, lawyers, they want court systems to go over to AI. They want to get rid of lawyers, they want to get rid of doctors, and they're doing it. It's already begun. So everything's going to be data in the future, and whoever has power over the data will have the ultimate power in the world, right? For those who join the beast system, that is, you can call it that, right? That's what it is. And so they're looking for that power, control, and looking to make it seem as if they're just these hardworking ex-royals looking to make a buck, when it's really about working towards that digital control, digital gulags. They want digital be able to, if you post something about Meghan Markle that Harry doesn't like, they'll just kick you out of the system and you won't be able to access your banking. They'll shut down, just like they did in Canada to the truckers. They'll shut down your access to your accounts and shut you out of society and punish you. And in the end, I mean, I think it's successful in that. Even if Travalyst itself is not successful, Harry is successful in getting data and wielding power and having that knowledge and power over people, the little people. It will be a massive victory for him in obtaining his own status as a king of something or other, king of the demonic world that he wants, the globalist satanic world order that they want. And hopefully, being an optimist, looking at optimistically, if Harry and he's exposed his criminal tendencies and derangement syndrome, if he's ends up locked up in a mental institution where he belongs, then that would be a victory for us in the end. So hopefully, but I asked about Travalyst, unfortunately. So maybe even without him as an app, perhaps it will still continue on and do what it's designed to do. successfully. Doesn't mean it's going to be popular though. It just means the app itself will be up and running amongst millions of other apps. So that in of itself doesn't mean it's making any money or anything of that nature. That's just the app itself. So at the end of the day, Google will put the app in the App Store, no matter what, which we already know. So the app itself will exist and work. But what will exactly acquire for him, I don't know, because he's a miserable, you know what. So he's always going to be miserable no matter what. So whether he's outing people and destroying their lives or not, it's not certainly wouldn't make him any happier. Uh, Only get him more enemies and more and more people to attack. So it's self-perpetuating misery there. It looks like what he's working towards, and I think he's going to realize that. I mean, this isn't going to make him happy. Like maybe he thinks he's like, I'm going to win, but it's only going to make him more miserable, more hated, and maybe he will end up institutionalized. But the app will live on. The app will still be available on Google Store. So I don't see Harry suddenly becoming this winner conqueror or anything. I think he's too much of a mess to become anything but the mess that he is because of everything he's doing. He's just on a downward slope, and aligning himself with a bunch of criminals isn't going to make his life any better. But he'll have to learn that the hard way. But the app, Travalyst app, will exist and continue to exist. So he'll have that for his legacy. He built an app. All right, so that is what I have for you today. It is all about the data, though, for sure. With the swords and swords and swords and swords, it's all about your data. So get that VPN, get another Proton mail or some other private mail, and yeah, be secure as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this. If so, please like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.